PlayStation has announced their long speculated competitor form of PlayStation Plus competitor Game Pass. They've modified a form of PlayStation Plus into a subscription with 3 tiers, including a library of hundreds of legacy games. I think I'm not a PlayStation guy. I don't think we actually have a true PlayStation guy on this pod, but the pricing for this is kind of egregious for what the offering is, in my opinion, especially with the knowledge that on my Game Pass, we're not going to have day one games on this. Mm-hmm. And the, adds up to 340 additional games. And I'm just picking up this one thing here with the PlayStation Plus Premium. It adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games, catalog of beloved games from original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP. I mean, I know I'm picking hairs, but that's really vague. And 340 games is not really a lot across 4 consoles. You know what I mean? I wonder what isn't there.
Well, did you mention that it's 400 plus the 340 in the premium? Did you say that already? It's not just 340. It is
PlayStation
400. Plus.
Well, the 400 is the PS4 and PS5 games. I was poking specifically at the legacy games. I don't even think they have all their legacy games on their stream service. Is what I'm getting at. The 400 is PS4, PS5 games.
Yeah, I mean, one way you could look at it, I find it ridiculous that on the consoles you have to pay $10 a month for multiplayer access in the first place. It's insane. But if you are somebody who owns PlayStation Plus, then you're only paying maximum of $7 more, $8 more for 700 plus games.
And you compare that to what Netflix costs, and you probably come out with you're getting more value out of this than you would Netflix anyway. So
yeah, I think that's actually a great deal. But yeah, I think it's ridiculous in the first place that you have to pay $10 a month.
It's also, I would say it is, and I would say it's a positive in quotes move that to have these games in a package like this, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's always good to see companies sort of recognizing and releasing their back catalog in some form, instead of just not. But this is probably just them scooping up all their emulated titles that were already available on PS4. And from what I understand, those emulation solutions aren't really up to snuff for what they should be. They aren't comparable to efforts made by the community in emulation. So there's this trade-off of you have these games together here in an official capacity, but they're not as good an experience as unofficial emulation. Right. And I guess it remains to be seen if that assumption is wrong and they have actually done something new. But from what it looks like, it's just they're bundling all of their stuff that they already had on PS4 as far as legacy titles go.
This isn't something that PlayStation would organically probably do if they didn't have to answer to Xbox doing Game Pass.
Right.
And the fact that they couldn't... So Jim Ryan had an article come out on GameIndustry.biz about how, quote, games could suffer if they went straight into PlayStation Plus. I totally believe that, because we got to remember that Microsoft is very diverse entities where they can suffer a shitload of losses on Game Pass on some crazy 10-year plan, and they can just eat billions in losses for a long time because they know eventually it's going to pay off. Sony doesn't really have that kind of capital. Gaming is their biggest thing. So when they make an investment in a studio, I think much more than Microsoft, they're risk averse to the fact that if they put it out for free, they're just not going to get a big return on that specific title.
Yeah, I think it's fair from that perspective. That Xbox is just eating, or Microsoft is just eating losses, and they know it.
Yeah, and Phil, I mean that's no secret, right? Phil Spencer has gone out and said that that's part of the plan. Build value in customer base by eating a shitload of material losses now. Convert money into players, basically.
Right.
Or into platform holders, or whatever you want to call it.
Too bad for us who just want, not free, right, but the same level of access to those first party titles that drop day one.
For sure. I mean, if you're a consumer and you have both consoles and you have to choose between one or the other, it's hard to deny that Game Pass is a better service for you.
Mm-hmm.
Some small
In general, of
effect
course.
this is having is if you're a PC user using PlayStation Now exclusively, PlayStation Now will transition into the new PlayStation Plus offering. So you won't be able to get PlayStation Now standalone in the future. But if you're a PlayStation Now user right now, that will roll into PlayStation Plus, and your price won't increase for now.
Right. So that is another big thing that I think Sony has totally failed on compared to Microsoft. And like Microsoft has the outreach of having Windows, so it's not necessarily fair. But a lot of people don't know that you can get a PlayStation Now subscription to like stream some of those games to your PC.
I literally was talking to Greg about that during the break, that I had no idea you could do that.
Yeah.
I would have played Bloodborne like years ago if I knew you could do that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Depending on, does anybody know how good PlayStation Now actually is at streaming?
Yeah, because maybe don't have no idea.
I think it's not great, but I could be wrong. I would look into that.
I've never
Don't
done
take
it.
that as gospel.